So everybody knows this is going to be recorded. So don't say anything you don't want, permanently on media, or do. And it will eventually be posted publicly so that you can go back and review it if you forget what we talked about. Other people can, and people who missed the meeting can review it, so that everybody knows what's going on. If you would, please put any information you have. I don't know if for whoever isn't familiar with Zoom, if you kind of run your cursor over it, you'll see a little menu pop up down at the bottom. And it says things like participants, chat. If you click the chat button, it'll pop out and give you a chat screen. Put any contact information you would like to share with the rest of the team. Put your contact information there. You can include your website, your email address, telephone number, social media, stuff like that. We will then save the chat. Can we save the chat, Luca? Yep, yeah. We can save the chat and send all that information out to everybody who participated. If you don't want your information there, it's okay, don't put it. But if you want to share your information, put it in the chat like I'll do mine. So we are www.lifeisartfest.org and at lifeisartfest. James. There you go. Nice. And if you have any comments you want to make as I'm going through stuff, this is going to be a very open conversation. I have purposefully not done a lot of pre-planning for this project because I wanted to get everybody's input before I did that. I'll take all of everything we talk about today and put it together in a proposal, which we will then start chopping around once everybody's had a chance to look at it and feel out what they want to do. Oh, it's about 5:10. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. Hello, everybody. I'm James Eccles. For those of you who don't know me offhand, I founded Life is Art, our nonprofit organization, co-founded, I shouldn't take all the credit by far, had a bunch of friends help me, about almost 12 years now. And it's interesting because one of the reasons it was started was because we saw that local artists were not getting a very good opportunity to present their work here in Miami. Normally we don't do anything during Art Basel unless we're invited to by some other organization, because there's already so much stuff going on that it's just kind of crazy to fight against everything like that. And you got everybody, all the patrons are already tired from going to all the different shows. But this year, clearly, with the cancellation of so many of the fairs, especially the main one, we decided, hey, Rudy, we decided to, that we had to do something. Our organization is always very, if you have background noise, please mute yourself. I'm not going to have you all muted normally, but if you have some background noise, but if you want to jump in, ask me a question, make a comment, unmute yourself and just chat, or put it in the chat box, and Luca or myself will catch it. So clearly we had to do something this year. Our organization is very much about collaboration, so we're always looking to work with other organizations. So instead of picking and choosing, we put the call out. We contacted everybody we knew, we put it on Facebook, emailed it, whatever, any way we could get it out there. We put it out there, and so far we've had great response. I know there's a lot of other stuff going on as well, which is awesome. So I think, being oddly optimistic, which I'm usually not, I think that actually we're going to have a really nice Art Basel. It won't be as profitable for everyone, especially the hotels and the restaurants. It won't be filled with folks from other countries. You know, it's not going to be insane like it normally is, I don't think, but I do think that there's going to be quite a few. You're going to see a lot of the local organizations, both big and small, step up and really work hard to make this a very special year. We think it's important, particularly because you know, it's our one big art year of the art week of the year, and I think it's really important to continue that tradition, so that annual reminder of the importance of the arts is still there, even though we're not having the big fairs here. So that's kind of the preamble. First of all, I'd like to thank our host here, Venture Cafe. Who all has not been to Venture Cafe before? I think that's most everybody. Yeah, just put your hand up. So Venture Cafe is a long-running weekly networking and educational event. So much more. It's really a community-building event, and it was previous to this in person every month, or every week actually. And it was just like this. There was a main room full of people you could network. And then there were also many breakout sessions that you could go to just on a variety of topics, all free, really wonderful, very diverse. So we loved going there. So once the pandemic hit, they went virtual, and here we are. Because we needed because I knew we were going to have quite a few people here, so we needed a pretty solid platform. Venture Cafe runs their platform on Zoom mostly and online. And so I asked if we could hold it with them, and they graciously said yes. They're fabulous. So here we are. Luca, who probably is in the upper left-hand corner, but may or may not be. Yeah, wave your hand, Luca. She is their tech person on their side, so they have provided us with our own tech person, so that way I can just focus on hosting the meeting. She'll take care of any craziness that might go on, and they take care of it. So that's been a great help, and I encourage you to stay after this. We're going to go till 6, and stay after this, because Deja Carrington, who many of you know as the director at Young Arts, will be hosting the next program in this room called, Luca, tell me the name, Cafe Convo.
It's a cafe convo, and it's facilitated by the executive director of Venture Cafe. But we're bringing in Deja and then a couple more people, I believe, for just a dialogue open for anyone to talk.
And they're talking about how to make art more accessible.
Yes.
So if you haven't met Luca, or if you haven't met Deja, I really recommend staying for that, and it'll be a nice conversation. And you'll get to meet Leanne, who's Leanne, right? The executive director here. So there's that. Let me give you an update of what I've done. So we didn't start this project until the announcement that Art Basel was going to cancel, which was just about 2 weeks ago, at least when we heard about it. I don't know if anybody had any insider information about it happening sooner, but that was when we heard about it. And so I pretty quickly decided that to start reaching out to all of you. And our desire was to really not to take the place of Art Basel, but to be kind of a placeholder, an alternative to it. So I want to do it in the convention center. I mean, why not, right? Let's go. We know it's empty, so I thought that would be great. There's going to be people showing up anyway, and that way people who might not have shown up can go ahead and just come out to that. Plus, it's a great location, and there's lots of parking and all that kind of stuff. So I've reached out to them. They seemed amenable to it. Of course, we're going to ask the city to provide space, to waive the fee for the space. That doesn't mean it's totally free, because we'll still have to pay for things like cleaning and setting up and tearing down and all that kind of thing. We still have to pay the people who actually work there, the actual workers. But if we can get the space for free, that's that saves us money that we can put into whatever, production, marketing, arts, paying artists, paying you guys, whatever. They asked me to then reach out to the city, because the city is the one that actually makes, the city of Miami Beach is actually the one that makes the decisions on whether or not they'll waive a fee. If we weren't asking for a fee waiver, wouldn't be, we'd just go in and pay the fee. And honestly, it's actually not as insanely expensive as one might expect it to be. But we want to use all the money we can to put towards the arts and marketing and the quality of the production. So I'm asking for a fee waiver. Got an email back from the mayor's office, Dan Gelber, and he directed us over to the permit department. And so I spoke to the person there. They were also amenable. Now, the great thing about this is that's 3 people now I've gone through, including the mayor and the director of the center. Nobody said absolutely not. They all said, all right, well, let's see. So I spoke to the woman here, Heather Shaw, for those who know her, in the city, and she said send her a proposal, which is great. I mean, that's not a no. That's as close to a yes as you can get until you actually send them the proposal. So that's a good thing. I'm hoping that because we have a nice coalition of so many different organizations, they will be quite amenable to it. So we're moving right along. What I plan to do is, from this meeting, I'd like to take your ideas, your thoughts, your kind of creations when you think about what you want to do as part of this, and put that, and then I'll put that, like I said, I'll put that proposal together. Any questions so far? Why are you so crazy, James? Anything? Yes, ma'am, Lilia.
James, I heard the other day at the Zoom meeting with the city and there's a coalition of chambers of commerce, 10 chambers of commerce together. And the mayor said he is not giving anyone any license to have people congregate until after December.
So
and what happens to the hospital, which is in the convention center? They built a hospital in that convention
right, there's a
center.
hospital in there. No, I haven't talked to them about that, but we'll see. As far as I know, it's not the whole convention center. You are correct. I've heard that as well, that he's not giving permits, but that is specifically for outside festivals, at least from what I've been told from sources within the situation. What I've been told is that's specifically for outside festivals. So we couldn't do,
No, because he wouldn't give Basel a license.
That's different than what I've heard. Well, we'll find out. I've already spoken with him.
But the only reason I bring it up is that I think we should have a plan B.
Well, and certainly, plan B is we'll find another space. For us, space has never been an issue. We've always gotten plenty of space for our events. There's going to be a lot of people who want to do something, whether it's hotels or other performance spaces, other presentation spaces. So I would like to host it in the convention center. If that's not possible, there are plenty of other places that want to do it. We would like to keep it in the core, so it's near where past Art Basel stuff has been going on. So that would include downtown, Wynwood, what's the one, Bayshore, stuff like that. So in that area, we'd keep it in that, but I don't anticipate any issue finding space to hold it. And it does kind of depend on how much all of the partners want to do, because we want to let you all have as much kind of free reign and space as we can afford to give you. So that would depend on that. As I mentioned in the email, or in the, if you saw the Eventbrite, we're looking to be able to cover more than just visual arts. So we'd like to include music, anything we can, dance, performance, poetry, film even, or at least a video maybe. So whatever people are interested in hosting, we want to talk about being able to make room for it. Yeah, other questions so far? Eric, go ahead.
Hey, James. Good to see you. Hi, Lilia. Good to see you. It's the same thing. I second what I'm going with what Lilia says, as well as from a safety perspective, which unfortunately is a reality. It has to be done, at least what I think, from a especially from an out-of-time perspective, in terms of safe.
Absolutely.
And so, like, it sounds great, like, to do like a huge in-person thing, but if anyone gets sick, and literally if one person gets sick,
clearly we don't want
that
anybody
is
to get sick.
huge. It's like a huge problem. Like,
Right.
so it's like if we want to reach out to New York, for example, and to the rest of, to Europe, et cetera, it's kind of like, because already Miami, in a sense, has, not Miami per se, but Florida, from a perspective, a northern perspective, people are like, wow, what's going on there? And I'm being honest, and it sucks, but it's like, people are like, wow, this is insane.
Right.
And so it has to be, from my perspective, it's like, and this is just like a drive-in, for example, like a drive-through show or something like that.
Right.
That way you would get the attention of people from out of town, and it would be safe from in town as well, because it's like a local thing and you should promote it locally. But also I would think that it would be something globally as well, that's like a safe thing, and really make it safe. Like that's just my fear. Like, I'm all for in-person, trust me. There's nothing I'd want more than that. But like, and what Lilia said as well, like, I know that if you can't do an outside permit, you definitely can't do an inside permit, because outside's a lot safer. And that's for sure. The convention center sounds amazing, but it is a hospital. And Lilia is correct right now. I don't know. I know from working with Miami Beach, they can be extremely disorganized.
They are,
I don't necessarily know. So who knows? Everything's so subject to change right now as well.
Right.
So it's like, that's another thing that's like, from my perspective, to put all the work in and to make it a great thing, as well as it's so lucky that Miami, the weather's great. So it's like, unlike up in New York where the weather sucks, like, so things can be done outside.
Right.
So it's like, for me personally, I would, what's it called? Like, use that, as like an asset. And so something like that, just work off that, and I'm going to be quiet. So thank you.
That's okay. No, that's great. That actually leads right into my next topic, because that is my next topic. Do you have any questions on the previous stuff before I go into the safety issues? Yes, Lilia.
I have a question for Eric.
Eric,
yes.
Are you familiar with the drive-by art show in New York that's been very successful, even before the pandemic?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I didn't see it, but it's great. It got tons of press. It's
artists that, instead of having a booth, they sell out of their car.
Right.
So you take like a block, and you park your cars. It could be anything. Idea. You park your cars like 10 feet away from each other, and then people drive by, and if they like something, they stop and they talk from the car. And it's fun. You have a band at the beginning and a band at the end, and something in the middle. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. And then, Lilia, thank you. That's amazing. And then to twist it somewhat for a Miami beat, like, so to differentiate it somehow. But that's great. Like, make it all over Miami, for example. Right. Yeah, something like that. That's amazing. Lilia, thank you for that. That's awesome. Or one day in one place, one day in another place. Yeah, that's
since
amazing.
It's movable, right?
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Great idea.
Guys, I want to chime in here too. Also, this is Stephanie Kasoy. I've been working heavily more in like the street art world over the last 6 years. So doing hundreds and hundreds of murals, and usually we're doing lots of painting and production in the real world, obviously in Wynwood and around Miami that week. So we've actually been studying what we can do in a hybrid sense, not since Basel canceled, but since February, really. We've attended just about every virtual event online and hated most of them, but picked up a few things that we liked. So what we decided to do is actually develop our own virtual platform that's really geared not just towards virtual, but hybrid. what it has that we're finding that's totally different than everything else is like the things that we didn't like, we built. So we integrated a music player. So there's actual like really cool vibes that you have with you in the virtual space. But we also integrated live hosted tours. So we're going to be able to have a virtual fair, but have live hosts like Zoom style windows, video hosts inside of the virtual space, all on like a schedule of events. Because we're building it custom, we still have plenty of time to flex who gets included and how we include them. So we've teamed up with an architectural designer who's doing like the virtual renderings. And then within there, we're going to back end it by an e-com platform. So we've like custom designed every piece so it's interconnected and works with what we want to see in an event, not just what currently exists in somebody else's software platform. And for us, we really think hybrid is the way to go. So we can have people decentralized, similar to like a remote workforce, and have things happening in New York and Miami, and then combine them with like a digital virtual bridge. So, if people want to do some stuff in person, we can combine all that together using our virtual space. So definitely anybody who's excited about still doing something that week, I'm all in for combining efforts and like making what we're putting together for street art work across lots of different people so we can really have like a combined marketing push, because that'll then be the other thing is how do you get to the top of somebody's mind when there's Scope and Basel and every other art fair going virtual also. So that's
Stephanie, and that'll be ready by the time we start, December, early December.
Yeah, we have our demo working now. Definitely anybody who's excited, we can do a demo tour and like press on it a little bit more. So you got to see how it functions and where we need to keep perfecting before we can go live for Basel. But how we build out the final model will definitely need to be decided over the next couple weeks so we can have enough like virtual rooms to accommodate different venues and fairs and how we see that, working in that model.
That sounds great, Stephanie.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
cool.
we've like, it's been a combined effort of like Miami, New York, Boston, Philly, Berlin, and Amsterdam. So we're all been feverishly trying to make this happen.
Stephanie, do you have a demo on your website? Can you drop that in the chat?
Because it's still like such a raw demo phase, I'd rather guide people on tours through the experience rather than just drop it. So we can like do a follow-up call with that and guide anybody through it who wants to be on that tour.
Oh, and could I add something, Stephanie? That's awesome. It definitely, I agree that it needs to be a hybrid as well. The one complaint from everyone that I know is that all the online fairs, they're not a substitute. That's one thing. And then the other thing is that they're all really the same and they're too complicated and they try to pretend to be something. Whereas like the simplest sites, and this sounds weird, but like I'm obsessed with this site and I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. It's like literally Domino's Pizza or like Papa John's. And it sounds really tacky, but they're so simple. They're so accessible. And that's like, it's like, why, do you see what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like, it's like, it's a painting, it's a piece. It's like people, they're like they're like, okay, it's all the same. So like, and it's boring and it's complicated. Like, let's make it simple so it's user friendly. That's just what I've heard. I don't know, because to me, they all look the same. So I'm like, so I'm going to be quiet now. Thanks.
Good idea.
The beauty of what we're talking about is that we can do something light, smaller, tighter, and then do something virtual where we can be global.
Yeah.
I agree. Yes.
So for those who just who are newer to the conversation here, first of all, I want to let you know you're being recorded. So this is a recorded program. It will be eventually posted online so that you can go back. Yeah, you can go back and check it. And anybody else will have an opportunity to check that. And also, if you will please, for anybody who wants to be contacted or be connected, drop your information in the chat box. If you see if you look on your screen down below all of the faces, there's a little box, there's a little thing that says chat. Click that. Chat box pops out on your, well, anyway, one side, probably your right, maybe not. And you can type in there and go ahead and put your, however you want to be contacted, email address, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, telephone number, website, put all that in there, maybe a little bit about what you do. We're gonna save the chat, download that, and then send the information to everybody who's here. Well, everybody who signed up anyway, and everybody who's listed in the information there, to make sure that you can contact it. If you don't want to put your information in the chat, you want to just talk to me, that's fine. We're not asking you to, because this is going to be, it won't be public on the video of it, but it will be shared with everybody else here and other partners, just so you can get in contact with each other and follow each other on your whatever different things. That was just a catch up for the folks who haven't been in. Let me talk about COVID, because that's a big issue. We now know that we're not going to have a solution by December, almost certainly. And so we need to make sure that we run everything very safely. First of all, we're working with professionals in the field that have either done this, already produced events during this time, and have hard-tested various processes. And we're also working with, there's an organization called Focus Miami, for those who know that. They are working on a document that to set standards for events. For those of you who don't know, those standards have not been set for event production in Miami-Dade. They have set standards for restaurants, hotels, things like that. So they have not. We also will be looking at our own experience and ways to, and what other people have done, ways to bring those standards above, of course, the minimum, because in many cases the minimum standards that the government or whoever puts out, industry people put out, are minimal. So we want to make sure that we keep it safe. That would include social distancing. That means that booths are not going to be next to each other, or whatever we have, however we show the art, not going to be right next to each other, whether it's maybe a drive-through or whether it's on the wall, but there's 20 feet, however that works out. Same thing for if we do performances. We'll make sure they're seated, tables, kind of like a restaurant, plenty of space between the tables, 8 to 10 feet between the tables. So make sure that everybody's masked up, lots of sanitization. This is going to require extra money. Fortunately, there is money out there for COVID abatement. As a matter of fact, I think everybody has probably heard of the Miami Foundation grant that they just put out. The new, I think it's $10 million total grant that's designed for covering extra COVID costs and things like that, or costs that you had to spend because of COVID. So that's available. So we're very, very conscious of safety. I mean, obviously, we don't want anybody to get sick at our events. For those of you who are in events, Eric, safety for our patrons is certainly one of the most important things to any event producer, because even before COVID, there was trip and fall, all of these different issues that you had. We all know, everybody who does it knows that you have to get millions of dollars of insurance, which is another expense. So the goal is to keep everybody completely safe. And I think there, honestly, for the people who do this for a living and have done it for years, I think there are very few people better suited to keeping people safe than event producers. I mean, that's really, for us, our number one job. Like, our job is to create safe space where you can then participate in whatever it is we're doing, whether that's music or art or, conference or whatever. So, and with you as our partners, we're very open to your input. So as we do things, and you see, oh, maybe you should, do this, put lines over here, put, whatever, have a station here where you need somebody to be giving out masks or something. We're totally in for that. So that's kind of where we are with that. Of course, you'll have full access to the thing. Now, as far as, I think, Eric, it was you that was talking about, the likelihood or the possibility that maybe everything is going to be canceled in December if we have another surge, and the people in charge decide they need to shut everything back down. It affects everybody, and that's a risk that we're willing to take. If it's not a risk that you're willing to take, that's any of you, and I don't mean you specifically. That's totally understandable. But it's something, and it may end up that maybe we need to, maybe we take the project and postpone it, so it's not actually Art Basel. But it's. I think that this is an important enough situation. The artists have been locked down for so long. Honestly, I don't even know how artists are surviving. I can't even imagine how they're surviving. Somehow they are.
On a positive side, James,
Yeah.
I was on several calls recently with people from Artsy and other major players in the scene, and across the board, people are doing pretty well right now in terms of anybody who's able to, use digital to push their art and had a good collector base is actually doing quite well this year compared to, other industries like events that are at zero. So.
Right, that's a good point, and that's great. And I would love to see, especially working with you, Steph, and anybody else here who's familiar with with online platforms, and the ability to be able to sell your art online. We'd love to be able to include that and help the artists then take advantage of the online opportunities. And definitely, Steph, we're absolutely interested in combining the online with the real. But for me,
I think, sorry, I don't.
Ahead,
I'm also with Stephanie. I agree completely. And a partner, an online like Artsy or ArtNet or one of those as a partner is probably it. And I don't think it'll be hard right now either, because they're all bored.
Everybody's right. Everybody wants something to do. Absolutely.
And I doubt there will be another lockdown. It's just, I really don't think there will be. I just think another thing that I was just thinking of is liability insurance.
I was going to say the same.
Yeah. Are we able to get it?
I don't
right
think
now.
so.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
So that's another.
We'll talk to our insurance guy. That's an interesting question. We have a really good insurance guy who has never let us down, even though we've tested his abilities several times. So I'll talk to him. That's a good question, because we want to make sure that clearly we're going to need insurance. And
but there's James, when you do an event like this with many organizations doing one event, we need to all be self-insured as well, because they can sue us all together or they can sue us individually.
Individually, right. And so that's something to keep in mind when you're deciding if you're going to be in or out. And like I said, just because you're here today doesn't mean we're going to make you come on and do something. Today is our first meeting. I've talked briefly with a few of you, but really today is the first meeting. So it's just to kind of put face to email and be able to think about this and think about what the possibilities are, what the impossibilities are, and what you feel comfortable doing. So if you decide that you're not comfortable, maybe for whatever reason, then that's totally okay. That's cool. What we want to do is be able to offer the opportunity to have a space. I was speaking with I think most of you know John Copeland at the GMFEA. The GMCVB. And I spoke to him today, and that's what I told him. I said, listen, there's this project that we're working on. If he knows, if any of you know of organizations that are interested in being a part of something that don't have their own venue or for whatever reason, then send them our way. You know, maybe they'll be interested in joining us and being a part of this. We want to make sure that all of the partner organizations are well represented. So say you do, I don't know, live music, Rudy, right? Say you guys do live music. We'll get a stage. It'll be produced by Motivational Edge, you know, whatever. Different areas can be different areas of the art zone for those of you who do visual art. Different areas of the art area can be curated and co-hosted and hosted by your organization. We want to make sure that all of the organizations are well represented and get good value out of, you know, the effort that they put in. Hopefully, as a collaborative, this will be less effort than it would be doing it on your own. That's the idea, because we all can take a little bit here and a little bit there and do some outreach, cross-promote, all of that kind of stuff. And we'll all be in one area where we can, you know, help kind of share the crowd. So that's kind of our mission of what we want to do. Anybody else have any thoughts of what they would like to do during this time? What they think would be good? Go ahead. I don't have your name. Got your number.
Marvin Weeks. How you doing? Sorry about that. Marvin Weeks.
Okay. Martin. Oh, hey, Martin. How you doing?
No, Marvin Weeks. Yeah.
Marvin, yeah.
Right. Well, I'm with the City of Miami Arts and Entertainment Council, but I'm with a program that we're going to call the Art Cafe. And the Art Cafe is highlighting the neighborhoods in Miami. And that's really my comment that I want to speak about. I think the concept that we're going to do need to be kind of organized, because, you know, with the COVID-19 and the fact that this is our opportunity, regardless of whether balls are coming this year, this gives us a chance to create something that we can be able to identify what's in Miami. It gives us a head start, because it helps us to be able to develop something that we won't be out of the picture in the broader scope of things, you know? So the apparatus we create will be something I think we can use going forward. And my thing, I want to make sure—
That's a great point.
I think that we should think about neighborhoods. I mean, Miami and South Florida is this beautiful cloth of different neighborhoods. And that's really the project that I'm working on in concern with the City of Miami project, is to neighborhood. And so if we do something mobile where whether it's digital or whatever, that can really highlight neighborhoods and what's happening in neighborhoods, I think that's something that I would like to see go forward, is tapping neighborhoods. And this gives us an excellent opportunity now. It's like the world stopped.
Kick that off, get it started. Yeah, that's a fantastic point.
Right, our neighborhoods, you know, and how we can mobily connect and do something unique that we've never done. This gives us the opportunity to create something that's never been done that can be used to go forward.
Marvin, this is why I like your idea a lot.
May I chime in? Hi.
Sure, go right ahead.
Bonnie. And I just want to add to what Marvin said. There was a woman and a curator who had to move out of the gallery because it became too expensive, and the kind of work that they were supporting were not taken as readily to the market. So what they did was to rent, or I think the gentleman, he bought a few trailers, maybe 3 or 4 of them. And those trailers became traveling exhibitions, traveling galleries throughout London. And where we are at now, where Marvin mentioned neighborhoods, that would be an idea. I think that would work, where we become mobile and we go into neighborhoods. But not only that, we go into neighborhoods where we want the art to reach.
Yeah.
not just to go into inner city neighborhood and bring a cultural vibe to it, but also that the work reach the audience that matters to the artists, which are collectors.
I have to tell you, I'm so excited because Ulite is doing that. Ulite is
Ulite?
building.
Are they?
Yes. And we just came up with the idea. We just wrote it down. We got some money to start it off with, and it's going to be called Ulite on Wheels.
Oh, nice.
So it'll be
Sounds
like a big bus that will be restructured, redone, so the sites open up and people can have tables and things. So that if you have an art class
Oh,
with
beautiful.
kids or whatever, it will have a screen in the back so you can show movies. It will have an exhibition, like a gallery front, a 3D printer for artists who want to print while this thing is in their neighborhood. But I expect that if it goes well, that we can have 6 of them. We can have one in region.
Wow.
That's my dream. One in the school system is divided into 6 regions. So I'm thinking of the school system. So you'll have one in the north, northeast, south, southeast, and then central and Doral area. So we can cover everything. Isn't that exciting? But it will not be done for this year. It would not be done for this year.
Tracing back to by the way, I'm Sean with Last Night Miami. Hi, James. Hi, everybody. Tracing back to the idea with the containers that were mentioned earlier, I think it would be a really good idea to be able to really split that capacity if we do manage to get the convention center. Also to bring security. I have access to like security that's very flexible with it, and also to have booth seating in kind of waiting areas divided up with, and maybe have like a bigger screen, a more practical kind of virtual tour that they can watch while they wait to go to another section. So that way people can we can have delegate how many people go into this area to see this piece, and have another section just for people waiting, have tickets given out. So that way when their ticket is called, it's their turn to come have their tour. And that way we can definitely show everybody. And at these booths, of course, have hand sanitizer, maybe even have plastic screens dividing them, and really show these people that we have all the positive intentions and following all the safety procedures that we possibly can, while still being able to keep this alive for all the artists that are really struggling in this time. So I work with Eric a lot of the time. The last few years, I've actually I met James. There's a few new faces, unfamiliar faces. I actually really appreciate everybody that's here right now. That everybody is really coming together, and before this meeting was even brought to my attention, the minute that our Basil was mentioned to be dropped, I was saying, look, we need to get to, I was already saying that something has to happen in place of that.
Great. Yeah, I like those
as
ideas.
a practical idea, and also combining ideas, because I love bringing everyone's idea together at the same time whenever possible. Having those containers, maybe go to those different neighborhoods, and then as like a final destination, pass by to the convention center, if that's the location. So you still need to send a proposal. Have it pass by there at the end, so that way they can get the full experience, but also splitting the capacity by bringing these containers. Basically setting it up kind of like a theater setup, maybe changing the insides, and having like a schedule, having like 3 containers so you don't have to go over budget. Just have a setup and breakdown crew and a schedule.
Nice.
What do you think?
I like that. That's very cool. Dita, did you put your hand up?
Me?
No, Dita. Dita? No? I thought I saw your hand go up.
Oh, hi, Dita. I mentioned your Dita, by the way.
There she is.
No, I was just saying, I think Marvin had mentioned about, making sure the representation for the neighborhoods and everything like that. So I was clapping. That's what I was doing.
Oh, I thought that was a hand up. I guess it was a clap.
It was a clap.
Okay,
But then also, I just wanted to mention, I think we talked about this on another call, that we definitely want to represent the actual neighborhoods of Miami, but also that safety would be a huge issue too, just because we don't want to bring crowds into neighborhoods and then potentially, put the neighborhoods at risk or anything like that.
Yeah, safety is a big issue, and definitely representation. We want to, and that's why it's great to have a coalition, because we can do more together than we can apart. definitely representation from all, and we're really, just so everybody knows, we're really focused on local. Our organization personally is very focused on local arts, local artists, local communities. And I know that most of your organizations are as well. So that's the main focus. If partners want to bring in artists or other performers from outside the area, that's also cool. But we're not focused on that kind of a thing. The GMCVB is interested in what they call, I guess, drive distance, anyway, something like that. They understand that it's not reasonable to assume that there's going to be a lot of people flying in, even if the fairs were going on, not reasonable to assume. Their marketing efforts are going to be really focused more on probably Orlando and South, or maybe Alabama and Georgia and South, places that can easily drive. The road is opening back up in America, and I think people are driving to their destinations. They also are guessing that a lot of people will come despite the fact that there are fewer fairs, just because Miami is a great place to come in December when you live in some place that's cold and nasty. So they are expecting a decent crowd, and they'll be working with us and working with a lot of other organizations to help promote not just that 1 week, but also kind of that whole time period, December and January. So we can also look at the possibility of doing things longer. Now, maybe not directly at the convention center. Maybe that's just a 2-day thing, as either a cap off or a kickoff. But in
art fairs all over the world.
Hi.
The next week or two.
Yeah.
Virtual, hybrid.
You're muted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wait. So then that would be the opportunity to then could be the opportunity to possibly distribute parts of the show to other areas of town. Like I said, we're not bound by anything yet. We still have plenty of time. It's only mid-September, so we still have plenty of time for planning. And we're interested in that. We need to close out in 6 minutes. I would like to, like I said before, if you don't have to be anywhere, please stay. Don't log out of this session at all. We're just going to pick it right up right here. Deja Carrington, who just jumped in, is hosting, is part of the next session. They're going to be talking about almost exactly that, right, Deja? It's accessibility of art, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's going to be a really interesting conversation. We're certainly going to stay. I do want to say thank you for everybody for coming tonight. It's 26 participants on now, but there have been more or less come through. So that's really awesome. We're really excited about all the information. What I'm going to ask you to do, like I said, if you want to get in contact with the other people here, drop your information in the chat box, or if you just want to post your Twitter or Instagram or whatever, so people can follow you and you can follow them, drop that. I'm going to send that out to everybody. And then we can go from there. Is there
going to be a follow-up meeting or something?
So the next step will be this. If you're interested in being a part of it, hit me back, right? Most of you I've emailed with. Eric, I haven't actually, but I love that you're here, man. But if you're interested in being a part of this in any way, even if you still have questions or concerns, if you want to get those addressed specifically, we can talk them out. Email me back or email me directly. I'm going to put my email address right here, right now. I know most of you have it. All of you should probably have it. But just in case you don't, james@lifeisartfest.org, right there in the chat. And tell me what you're interested in doing. That's the main thing we need to know next, is if there's something, be anything, right? Let's worry about, I feel kind of like the guys at night, like, let's not worry about the logistics at the moment. Let's worry about the creativity and the community. So that's what I want to know is what you want to do. And then from there, we can figure out if we can make it happen, and if we can, how we make it happen. From that, like I said, I'm going to put together a proposal and then start reaching out to the big guys with the big bucks and the big guns to be able to help us make this happen. Does that make sense to everybody? Cool. Any last questions? We've got 3 minutes left. Last questions.
Hi, this is Arlene Wise. Can you hear me? I don't know.
Hi, Arlene. I can hear you.
Hi, James. How are you?
Hi. Great.
I'm very inspired by what everyone said, and I just wanted to actually just chime in and say, many years ago at the beginning of Wynwood, literally it was just Joey's and the wall.
I remember.
I produced an event called the Art and Design Market and Lounge of Wynwood.
Yeah.
I remember.
One of David Lombardi's space.
Yeah.
And you know, what came to mind, again, because that combined art, music, fashion, design, so it also included furniture, and we, so now I'm also a writer producer. We're working on a show called Master Thrifters, so we have a lot of major people involved, and we want to bring it also out to the educational community to teach kids how to repurpose, you know, whether you're going to the junkyard and taking a motorcycle part and turning it into art. So what I thought also, just as you walk around the neighborhoods, whether it's Normandy Isle or whether it's Lincoln Road, you have all these empty storefronts. I mean, Espresso just moved, so you have this gorgeous space that literally just needs like artwork in it or what have you. So my thought was that we actually approach, you know, the Art and Design Market and Lounge of Miami Beach, and working with the city, going to the landlords and actually trying to do a December pop-up. You know, like in Bryant Park, they do a pop-up with different marks and things like that. So we actually have the usage of the spaces that are empty. The Miami City Ballet already is a pop-up at the old baby store.
Yeah, no,
So,
that's a good point.
That's a good idea.
That was my idea, because then you can have the artists or the groups come in and have their own spaces.
Right. Follow up with me afterwards, Arlene. I think that's a really good possibility as well. That was honestly, that was the other thing that we considered doing. I know that Lincoln Road is already interested in doing that. And I've talked to the folks that are part of Washington and Ocean as well. And I think that they would probably be interested in addition. So definitely follow up with me afterwards. We've got to get going. I really love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. You have some great ideas. And like I said, if you can stay, let's stay and talk about making arts accessible to everyone.
Thank you, James.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
I mean, I'm not leaving, but, you know, bye to those who are leaving.